Welcome to On the Chain.
Here we go right here. So when we consider AMMs, automated market makers, must remember there's two sides of the story. So the first, he goes into the detail about the tech itself and how it extends the XRPL, the XRP ledger, along with the decentralized exchange, better known as the DEX, that we're all pretty familiar with, right? What I love about this is he put these cool fun little graphics with it. You know, X times Y equals K. You have your asset A, your asset B, and your constant value, right? There you go. And then he says the latter is focused on best practices that should be followed in order to avoid making a bloody beginner mistakes. Anybody ever made that? Put your hand up if you ever made a beginner mistake. Anybody ever done something stupid there? Anybody? Anybody at all? I'm not naming names. I'm just saying, has anybody done anything stupid? Beginner, right? Sometimes it does, and I'm not even talking necessarily about crypto. We've all been there. We've all done dumb things. You're like, yeah, okay, I was a newbie. I didn't know what I was doing. I'm pretty dumb. Yeah, I didn't realize there was a tag I had to put on there too when I sent the XRP and it ended up in another wall. You know, there's all kinds of stuff. Or maybe it's something with your trade. Who knows? So if this sparks your interest, stay tuned for the second episode of the series. It's coming later this next week. And then loving this sort of these graphics here. So as the name implies, the payment engine, it's the critical subsystem of the XRPL's rippled software implementation that's in charge of a couple things. First of all, executing payments, auto bridging, cashing checks, and pathfinding. Speaking of pathfinding, who out there owns a pathfinder, a badass Yeti pathfinder? Cute and cuddly, but dangerous as hell, man. You see one of those, you're in trouble. They've already seen you. And there we go, big ass old engine right there. And then we talk about the payment engine. The end goal is to develop a payment engine capable of executing payments in any practicable form through numerous pathways. For this, liquidity must be provided and consumed from a variety of sources, including order book, the decentralized exchange, and the automatic market maker pools. So there you go right there. So if we think about liquidity, you can put a definition, the efficiency or ease with which an asset or a security can be converted into a ready cash without affecting its market price. And if you see what generally blows up out there and what has caused so much struggle, especially when we're in a bear market, is the whole liquidity side of stuff, right? There's no liquidity and it's disastrous, and especially how it relates. So if you have the opposite of liquidity, you have exactly totally affecting the price, and you got more sellers and you have, market makers, takers, and buyers, right? So it just creates a whole slew of trouble. And so number 3 of the payment engine, as a result, the engine selects its paths along with quality to execute the optimal path for any conversion to fulfill the specific or specified quantities. Some more details here to go into it in really big detail if you really want to do that. You can also read the white paper on it. We're not going to do that right here, but again, really cool if you want to see it. So the XRPL AMM advantages. So the decentralized exchange calls for a helping hand to effectively provide the best liquidity to the XRPL payment engine. So let's welcome the new kid on the block. This is AMM, which I think, again, is very exciting. If you saw David Schwartz, you saw some of our earlier shows on this, but David Schwartz thinking one of the best things to come to the XRPL and the most exciting things in a long time. And I think he's spot on about that. But first of all, it's chain native, right? So it's on a side chain. There's no front running. There's one automatic AMM pool per trading pair. So a lot of everything that's good is built in and a continuous auction mechanism. Layer 1, chain native. So unlike other blockchains, the XRPL AMM will be directly included into the XRPL's layer 1 basis, eliminates any need for developers to create their own potentially risky smart contracts. Also, far more difficult to rug people. Does anybody ever heard of that being a problem? That's the whole issue right there too. So like I said, a lot of what has been focused on here is the good and limiting a lot of the bad stuff, and being chain native is key, right? Cuts out a lot of the shenanigans. And then no front running. So on incentivized networks like Ethereum, it's typical to front run transactions in order to deceive others into accepting poor trade prices. And again, this again was done by design so that you don't have that front running, and that deceptive practice can really cause a lot of damage, right? So this is completely improbable due to the XRPL's canonical transaction ordering, first by account and then by sequence. So again, a lot of great stuff's built into it. And if you look at it here, you've got Alice, she's got her first transaction into the mempool. You got, I don't know who this is here. This is an evil bot, right? You got transaction 2 and transaction 3 coming in. Transaction 2, big money, less money. You have a miner, and there are your transactions right there. And this is the way that they appear in the transaction order inside of the block itself. So, and 1 AMM pool per trading pair. So let's assume that we have a pool with a trade pair XRP in a tokenized form of the US dollar issued by GateHub, and this is what we always commonly refer to as an IOU. And I'll be honest with you, I really dislike the whole thing of an IOU, right? This whole thing of calling it an IOU. I guess it sounds good, but to me, we could have come up with a better term. On XRPL, this pair, the XRP/GateHub US dollar, can only exist once, notwithstanding the possibility of a second XRP/Bitstamp USD pool and 1 AMM pool per trading pair. So again, what's great about this, and again, if you want to read the white paper and get all the gobbledygook, you can. But what I think what Cryptonwriter does so well here is really just pull out the highlights and the bits about it that make it better than a lot of other things that have come before it, especially how we contrast it against what happens over on Ethereum and some poor sucker getting hosed, right? So on EVM, or these are Ethereum virtual machine-based chains, right? This is what's coming. That sort of the EVM technology or the smart contract is coming to the XRPL in the form of the Evernode, right? So it'll be able to run EVM. There could be several copies of the same pool pairing, lowering the pool security and liquidity, but the AMM pool's available liquidity will be more cohesive and obvious on the XRPL. And he has a screenshot here kind of showing you just kind of a little bit how that works. He's got some pairs there. He's got USDC ETH. He's got DAI to USDC. He's got USDC to ETH over here. And you can see the volumes in the trade pool. So then you've got the LP token. This issued asset, like any other IOU tradable on the decentralized exchange, requires a trust line setup, but also serves as the cornerstone of any AMM. And it represents your portion of the assets in the AMM pool, including fees accumulated over time, also voting and bidding. And I'm actually super excited. I can't wait for this because I think what this is going to do is light up a lot of activity around probably not only XRP, but we're going to see a ton of activity happen. But it's like, let's go, guys. Let's already put this up for a vote. But this is what's coming down the pike here. So continuous auction mechanism. This is your safety net for arbitrage traders, allowing them to remain profitable even during periods of low volatility when trading against the pool would be otherwise unprofitable. And this is a big problem with arbitraging right now. And this is why, if you've ever tried arbitraging, this is where you can get yourself into a little bit of trouble. It's great on the one side where you're making money on the trades, but on the flip side, especially when you have you got this massive volatility of the trading, this is where they use the word unprofitable. This is where you lose your shirt, right? So it keeps the pool asset ratio steady. So you can see a lot of thought's been put into this of what's failed in other arenas. And then you've got this continuous auto auction mechanisms, which you mentioned. This is achieved by allowing arbitrageurs to bid on an auction slot and then trade up to 24 hours with no trading fees if they are outbid after some time versus taking that trading fee on some other on some other chains. And a partial refund of the bid would then be available based on the time remaining. So I kind of like this too. It's another sort of a safety measure built in. And then you got everything's paid in LP tokens, and the slot winner can qualify up to 4 accounts for the discount. The LP tokens are then burnt in this process, increasing your ownership of the pool over time. So you can see, man, a lot of versatility is coming. And you're like, where's this coming again? That's right, the XRPL, chain native, which is great. It's not going to be a side chain. It's going to be right on chain. So I would like to think that something like this would go through, or at least it would sail through. I haven't heard anybody. I've seen mostly excitement around it. But again, we'll have to see. We're not at that point yet. Votable trading fees. So liquidity providers can vote on fees to be adjusted to 0.001% increments. Hopefully they stay like, so that would become 0.002% and then 0.003%. So that's ranging from 0 to 1% based on the market volatility. This is going to be interesting to see how this works in actuality versus theory. Sounds like a good thing, but again, it depends on where that volatility comes into play and how, if it's okay. I like the fact that they're small increments and they can range from 0 to 1%. But again, what are we going to be on that? Are we going to err more towards the 1%? Only the votes of the 8 richest LP token holders in the AMM pool count, which again, more good news. And those adjustments do not automatically adapt. And so he's titled this one a different beast. So you have, first of all, low transaction fees, another big win right there, where XRPL is famous for that. For an arbitrager, I got a little typo there, but the predicted profit of the submitted transaction is likely to surpass the transaction expenses on the XRPL. I think I'm going to sneeze. Wait a second. No, maybe not. Fast finality, lower risk for arbitragers, owing to a quicker block times on XRPL, which means lower price fluctuations when in motion, which is what you see. This right here, if you just add the word gas on this thing, that's what it looks like, a giant bag of gas if you're on the Ethereum blockchain. But the thing is, Ethereum was the first to make the splash, maybe because that was because of Vitalik Buterin couch surfing on Stefan Tomas's couch, and they talked about smart contracts, but who beat everybody to market? It was Ethereum. That's why they became such an important chain, and that's why they garnered a lot of the business. They had their issues. ERC20 tokens were like minting like beyond reason, but hey, liquidity provision. There are various ways to add liquidity to a pool, but be careful because that increased convenience of a single-sided provisioning is paid for in trading fees on the AMM, resulting in costly trades, especially with larger quantities. So yeah, there you go. Liquidity provision. The assets you contribute to any pool with double-sided provisioning are free of charge since there's no mechanism needed to convert your provision into the paired asset as there is with a single-sided provision. And if we just started off here too long, didn't read, if you ever wonder what TL:(TR) means, that means too long, didn't read. AMM enhances the payment engine. AMM is distinguished by its L1 or its native layer 1 status or traits, I should say. XRPL AMM is not susceptible to front running. The auction mechanism serves as a safeguard, but also be cautious of that single-sided provisioning. And then the votable trade fees are from 0 to 1%. So overall, man, it's a very good. Special thanks to Dex5 Pro for his tremendous help in teaching me everything around the XRP AMM. And expertise from and Crippen Ryder, thank you for teaching us, man. It's really good stuff.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.